Hello, everyone. I am your host of the Verge podcast, Virgil Edwards. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at _Verge_. Today is about autopsying the presidency of Barack Obama. In 48 hours, Donald J. Trump will become the 45th president of the United States. At the end of any term of a president, it should always be wise to recollect and autopsy, as you will, the performance in office. Let's start with the debt. The national debt literally doubled from 10 trillion to 20 trillion under President Barack Obama. It took 8 years to do what the nation did in its lifetime, and that's double the national debt. Let's go to the IRS scandal where conservative Tea Party groups were discriminated against, to say the least, when it came to their applications for 501c tax exemption status. Did anybody get fired over that? No. But that's a common theme under President Obama. Did anybody go to jail under the VA when they were caught putting veterans on waiting lists? And we wonder why veteran suicide rates are so high. Did heads roll? No, of course they didn't. Just shuffled the people from one position to the other. No one really paid the price. Let's talk about the wars. Yeah, the wars that started under Bush, that President Obama campaigned on stopping and putting to an end. No, they didn't. He just started more wars. We drone bomb in Yemen. We put forth military efforts to unseat Gaddafi. We are, in a position where we are trying to unseat Assad in Syria. Many would argue that these efforts, which are acts of war, which are undeclared and therefore unconstitutional, led to the rise of ISIS. And of course the neocon Republicans were all over it, cheering it on and everything, because that's what they do. They love war. But Barack Obama greenlighted it all, including what led to the Benghazi attacks that killed 4 Americans, including our U.S. ambassador. Of course, then there's the Fast and Furious operation. Not the movie, but the operation that was involving running guns across the border into Mexico with the so-called effort to try to track drug cartels. But they ended up getting border officers killed. Gee. Whose head rolled over that? No one. Let's see. Rand Paul's filibuster on domestic drone strikes. The executive kill list. He filibustered because the president would not say that he did not have the authority to authorize drone strikes on an American that was not actively committing acts of violence. He wouldn't. Until the filibuster. I mean, when asked a plainly answerable question like, do you have the authority to issue drone strikes on Americans on American soil that are not involved in violent acts, your answer's simple. No. But he wouldn't do it. And let's move on to the NDAA provisions, which was signed under President Barack Obama, that allowed for indefinite detention of Americans without charges, without a lawyer, without their constitutional rights. But he said he would never use that. That was his excuse as he signed this gross piece of legislation into law. Then, of course, the embarrassment when it was revealed by Edward Snowden that the NSA has been spying on Americans without a warrant. And he's still mad about that today. And the proof is in the fact that he commuted the sentence of Bradley Manning. No, I will not use that person's preferential name because of the fact that you can't just, up in one day decide to call yourself a woman. I don't care if you feel like a woman. If you got a penis between your legs, you are a guy. You are a human male. That is what you are. And for the American taxpayer to have anything to do with paying for his whatever related to this is just sick. It's perverse. But Barack Obama commuted a large part of his sentence just the other day and won't do anything to help Edward Snowden because, quite frankly, he's mad that he whistleblowed under his time in office. And he's using this to try to get back at Russia for providing him political asylum. Of course, the whole thing with blaming Russia for why Hillary Clinton lost is just absolutely ridiculous. It is. It's purely ridiculous. I mean, just because Hillary Clinton's campaign staff was careless and clicked on a bad email and got their password stolen, that's not Russia's fault. Russia had nothing to do with it. But yet President Obama playing President Stompyfoot for why Trump won, decided to, just before Christmas, sanction Russia by throwing out the ambassadors that were in this country. And still blaming Russia, saying they hacked the election after only 2 months ago telling Trump, quit your whining, the election can't be hacked. I mean, either it can or it can't. You don't, just because you're president, you don't get to create that double standard. And here's another thing to get out of Barack Obama's presidency. His unprecedented attacks on law enforcement. Yeah. When Cambridge, Massachusetts, he made comments about their police that were unwarranted. And then we get this issue in Ferguson, Missouri, where a thug gets killed by the police for acts of crime because he tried to take a weapon away from a police officer. And he'd committed crimes earlier that day against a shop owner. But then the media, covers it up with all this, hands up, don't shoot nonsense. Even Eric Holder, Attorney General appointed by Barack Obama, said it didn't happen. But they keep parading that lie. And Barack Obama took no leadership whatsoever in backing up our law enforcement. Which, of course, parts of Ferguson burned and private property destroyed and people injured, and of course, that encouraged the Baltimore riots, which on down the line, escalated into 5 police officers in Dallas getting killed by a sniper. I mean, is there any positives to come out of Barack Obama's presidency? I'll let you be the judge of that. He says that he had no idea that Hillary Clinton was running an illegal email server to do her job as Secretary of State. The WikiLeaks emails prove that's a lie. And then he pushes this edict about how public schools should be allowing those who consider themselves transgender to use the restroom of their preference. I mean, there's just really nothing here to be proud of over the last 8 years. Nothing. I mean, all I've seen out of President Barack Obama is disdain for the U.S. Constitution, disdain for American traditions, disdain for the rule of law, disdain for those who fight to defend it. I mean, we can sit here and literally for hours list off one by one things that has been shown to be a negative that occurred either directly by President Obama or happened under his term of office, which he took no leadership on in correcting. But here's the thing. When we dissect a person's time in office and we voice the things that went wrong, it becomes easier for people to understand how important it is that these things be recognized, vocalized, visualized repeatedly so that we don't make the same mistakes. And I'll do the same thing in 4 to 8 years when Donald J. Trump's presidency comes to an end. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of negative things to talk about. But the fact of the matter is this. President Barack Hussein Obama's presidency has been a dismal failure. Complete failure. And who's really to blame? We are. We, the people, voted to put him in office not once, but twice. So what do? We learn our lesson. We stop electing people that have shown wanton disregard the way that President Barack Obama has. I mean, that's really all we can do. And hope that we become more educated and allow ourselves to understand that we are at fault. That's perhaps one of the hardest things to do, is to admit when you're wrong. Gibbs Rule 51, sometimes you're wrong. In America, we were wrong in electing Barack Obama a second term in office. Until the next episode of The Verge podcast, please share this with your friends and family on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, social media. Stay educated, my friends.